Okay. No tags showing? So, I better face this way the whole time then, huh?
No,
Can you get me closer?
it don't matter.
Oh, okay. That shows up on YouTube. I'm going Kung Fu style. Okay. So anyways. Oh yeah. Once they raise interest rates, what impact is that going to have? When the bank raises the interest rate, how's that going to impact?
People go into debt faster. Less
Well,
people loan money. Wait,
they're going to raise interest on any people that take out a loan in the future.
So
Be able to pay their loans.
Well,
not as many people take out loans, and the banks don't get money.
there. You won't have as many people taking out loans. And not just an individual, but our economy is dependent upon what
Business owners.
business owners getting their loans, okay? Because businesses then can expand, produce more, buy more equipment, hire more people, yada, yada, yada. Once the interest rate is raised, that means less borrowing, and it slows down economic activity. So that's one way it got worse. What's another thing, another example or reason why it got worse?
Tariffs.
Oh, what about the tariffs?
We got hiring the tariffs. And another
Not hiring. Not like a job. You don't hire them, you raise them. Beautiful.
And then other countries would raise theirs, and then there was no world trade.
Yeah, okay, it cut off trade basically. We raise our tariffs. And what's the purpose of raising our tariffs?
Get more money.
Sir?
To help increase the income of our country.
Our country's businesses, right? To get people to buy more American domestic products. Yeah, but it backfires. So that's another one. Excellent. That's two at least. What's another one? We have at least one more. Made the depression worse.
The Dust Bowl.
Huh? Oh, okay. Yeah, you could say that some of the droughts, the Dust Bowl in the 1930s in the Midwest, adds insult to injury. Okay, good deal. We'll buy that. All right, next one. Why? Why then? This should be an easy question. Number 3, and I'd like to hear from lots of people. So, Mr. Welsh, we'll give you a chance.
People were struggling in the time, so they just made more reforms.
Okay, so people were struggling. How are people struggling? What does that mean? Clarify that for us.
Starvation.
Okay, so people are hungry. Beautiful. What else? Yeah.
They were being evicted and had no home.
There were people being evicted, so there's reform needed to help those people. Okay? By the way, the earlier you answer, the better chance you have of getting a correct answer. People were losing jobs, so people were unemployed.
Businesses and banks were closing.
Businesses and banks were closing.
Major reforms were being pushed, like by the government, because it was viewed that something needed to be done, anything needed to be done. So the New Deal was built to do anything, even if it didn't work. It was at least trying.
An attempt. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Okay? So, by the way, you guys jotting these things down as we go through?
Of course.
Okay, I hope so. That's the purpose of this. Everybody should have a nice full notebook. Enduring impacts the Great Depression had. How has it endured on our country? What impacts or legacies has the Great Depression had on our nation?
Poverty?
Yes, sir.
Some reforms like the Social Security Act is still around.
Oh, okay. Brought in a whole bunch of new and long-lasting reforms.
And the FDIC. So the banks wouldn't lose their money again.
Okay. Yeah, and it definitely helped out. Otherwise, again, in this Great Recession, we might have had runs on the bank if we didn't have this FDIC insurance. Yeah?
I was gonna say, like, you would think we would learn from the mistakes made.
It kind of showed us better how to better handle a situation like this so it didn't get out of hand.
Oh. Well, you know, it's strong arguments for, I'll come back to yours, but strong arguments for that because are we in a Great Depression right now?
We're in a recession.
Just in a Great Recession. Maybe because of something we learned from there, we enacted policies. Do you remember right away what our government did? Who was the first institutions that the government bailed out or came to help? Was it the people? It was the banks, right? So, we learned that from there. What did you say again? We'll come back to that one.
We should learn.
What generation of folks has learned and remembers the Great Depression?
My grandparents.
The grandparents.
A lot of your grandparents, the older grandparents, right? Now, guess what? And I saw somebody come up with this. It was a great term. Depression, Great Depression amnesia. Okay? Those generations after that didn't live during the Great Depression, did we have any concept of what it was really like? Okay, did anybody in 2005 or 2006 see a big recession coming?
No.
No. Okay, so that old generation of people like in their 80s and 70s and stuff, they kind of remember, and they definitely changed. A lot of them changed their ways. And again, you guys have grandparents that are like that? Huh?
They save a lot of stuff.
They save a lot of stuff.
They're super frugal and like you finish your plate, no matter how much food's on it and things like that. Just
Okay.
like my grandma freaks out when you throw food away. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Uber frugal.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Uber frugal?
It shall be a word.
I didn't have the burger.
Huh? So, yeah, nice. So yeah, those some generations remember and change their ways and continue to have
But
live.
recent generations
In
buy
a way.
on credit and buy on margin haven't learned from it.
But recent generations are seriously indebted and have not.
It's number 5.
Okay. Let's make a list of successes and failures. In what ways was the New Deal successful?
They got a lot of jobs.
Put a lot of people to work. Okay, what else?
They created the SSA, the Social Security Act, to help them get on their feet, provide, just a way to survive.
Okay, which helped the elderly. Okay. There's programs put in place to help the elderly and other programs to provide assistance and relief for people in need. Okay. How else was it a success? Yes, sir.
Put trust back in the banks of the people.
Ooh, okay, very good. People could. That's a good point. Haven't heard that one yet, but that's a good one. How else? Yes.
Helps put new programs to keep it from happening again.
Ooh, okay. All right. Did implement some. How else was it successful? By the way, anybody can respond to this. Must be a couple more successes, isn't there?
Well, it kind of already got said, but I think it already got said. Most of the reforms are still around.
I need a microphone.
They put money back into people's pockets.
Oh, yeah, it did actually, didn't it? Through some of the work in different ways. Okay. In what ways did it fail or not really succeed?
Increase the deficit for the government.
And let's turn to page 415. Okay, and take a look at that. Or end of chapter 33. Towards the end of chapter 33, there's a
You're talking about the
budget question. No. Page 427. Page 427. Take a look at that chart. Analyze that chart, please. Let's go, everybody. 427. Page 427. Figure out what that chart says. What do you see there, Brian? That possibly highlights one of the downsides of the New Deal.
The federal budget dropped significantly from 1931 to 1938.
Okay, and that means we ran up a big what? Debt.
Yeah.
Okay, it was extremely expensive, So it gave us a big national debt. All right. What else is another drawback of it?
The government was in control of our investments related to Social Security.
Ooh, yeah, and just in general, for some people, the government took on too big of a role. What do you call that when the government is starting to take care of people's livelihood and retirement and their health care, housing, helping with housing needs?
Socialism?
Huh?
Socialism?
Oh, there's another term I'm looking for. It creates a something state,
Welfare?
a welfare state. Okay. Which, yeah, we have to go over that. We'll go over that right now. When people are relying on the government to have their needs met for a variety of things, like I mentioned, like healthcare, housing, pensions in old age, and things like that. That is creating a welfare state. All right? And one of the drawbacks people will see is that it created a welfare state because many more people came to rely upon the government for having needs, to have their needs met, or at least assistance in having their needs met. Other big failure of the Great Depression, of the New Deal. There's one really huge way in which it failed. It failed to do something. What did the New Deal fail to do?
Solve the problem.
What's the problem?
Great Depression.
It didn't end the Great Depression. Okay? The New Deal did not end the Great Depression. It was kind of a temporary band-aid. Yeah, it helped while the government was spending lots of money and putting all these programs in. But guess what? Look at our debt in 37 to 38. That was right around the time period that our federal government decided to pull back on the New Deal and spend less government money. Okay? And as soon as that happened, there's another chart in here, a few chapters back, that shows, go to page 402 and compare that chart with the other one. What happens in that 1936-ish to 38 range? What happened to unemployment in 1937-ish, pretty much? It went way up, right? And I think there's even another one. Why would unemployment go up right then?
They weren't getting money from the government.
Because the government, cut back its program. Take a look at page 394 and kind of fold your page like this. I gotta shield this from the librarian so she doesn't see it on camera. Fold your page kind of like this, and you can see those two charts together and see how those two pages work. Look at those two charts and compare and analyze. Compare those two charts. And looking again at that time period about 1936 to 1937 to 38. What do you see?
What chart? What page?
Those two pages right there. What's the relationship there?
Foreclosures were going.
Yes, sir.
Unemployment goes down when the government stopped giving them as much money.
Unemployment went up.
When they were giving them.
When the government stopped these programs and slowed them down for a while, unemployment went up, and what happened to economic activity?
It went down.
It went down. And compare the decline, the rate, the slope of decline in 1937 to that of 29 to 33.
What about
Is that a similar rate of decline? Some even said that what? About 1937.
That is where.
It's even a steeper decline, isn't it? Okay.
Do you want to look at this one too?
No, I mostly wanted you to look at those other two. That economic output, as soon as federal government pulled back the money, down went the economy, and at a steep pace. So, what finally pulled us out of the Great Depression?
World War II.
Spending for World War II. Okay? Spending and the fact that we were selling a bunch of stuff to the Europeans, especially at the beginning of the war. Okay? So, scary thing is, let's compare that to now. Since 2008, the government has put a lot of money into our economy. And what's happened to our economy? It's shown a little bit of improvement. Is that going to sustain itself as all that government money goes away? Comments, sir?
I was just gonna say that you also have to add in the raise of taxes and then look at the banks today.
What do you mean about the taxes?
Well, the taxes have also been increased, and the proposal for a tax increase has been going on. But so that might just get us into another drawback. Because here we have the same problem. Government raised the discount, right? And so the banks